Hey everybody, Ryan O'Donnell here with you for another game. It's been a while since I've had a game for you. This is a classic board game called Chutes and Ladders, which actually has another name because its past comes from we don't even know like the actual date of this. This is an ancient a game from ancient India, so goes back a long, long time. Original name is called Snakes and Ladders, and you'll still see versions of this of the two different names. And so it found its way from ancient India, and it's based in the idea of karma and the idea of uh, teaching children about desire and their destiny, and it migrates. The English bring it back to England, and they incorporate it as well too into the Victorian age. And the idea of, besides necessarily just going up and down, the idea of good deeds move you forward and bad choices move you back down, kind of a thing. It's a game that many of us know, and it's been around for a long, long time. I'm excited to be able to do it now in the classroom. So check this out, folks. This is Chutes and Ladders. This is Ryan. I'm back again. Welcome, everybody. So, got this new game, and it is still brand new. I'm in the process of putting this thing together. So, I'm looking for feedback as well from anybody who wants to take an opportunity to try this thing out. Give me some feedback about what works and what doesn't. And in this particular example here, I'm going to give you not necessarily just a template, but actually a fully fledged out game that I'm going to address that in a second. So let's take a look at the game, everybody. And so like so many of my games, we have our opening slide. And when you get to the opening slide, you can see we have some music that goes along with it. Yep, there you go, Chutes and Ladders. And so I like to have fun with my intros with some music and some sounds and some all that kind of stuff. As you can see here on the title slide, I definitely recommend whatever you're doing, change this thing from Classroom Edition to whatever it is, the subject that you have doing. And then don't forget, too, is that you have on either side, you have sometimes on the side of the slide deck or underneath in the notes section is different information for you. So first off, you can see down here, here's some of the fonts that you're going to need to be able to get. And there's a Google link to be able to install some of those fonts that give you the look and feel of the particular game. All right, so let's jump into the directions here. The directions, if you can see, like so many of my games, or I think almost all of them, not all, but most of my games will have relatively a 3-team layout here. And the team, this one's going to have to use these colors because I have these tokens, these pawns that will represent the team. Not a bad idea to be able to get, have a little indication about what team's which. Not so actually have something yellow, pink, and green to kind of go with the little grouping of your classroom. There's a whole video about how to be able to set up teams if you want to check out my YouTube channel, so you can be able to check that out. So put your class into 3 different teams, and then basically you're going to need some questions here. This is one of these games that I don't know how many questions that you're going to have. Some of my games do very clearly. You got the, hey, Jeopardy, I need a grid of a 5x5. That's 25 questions, and you're getting through all of them. Sometimes you don't know how long this is going to take. So for here, the basic premise of the game is that if the group gets a question correctly, they get to spin the wheel and they get a 5, so they move 5 spaces. So how long does it take for them to get from the beginning to the end is unknown. And so the games could go fast, could go slow from one class or one period or one day or one year to another. You'll see some differences within there. So you're going to want to be able to have some flexibility on the number of questions that you have. You can see I got a link down there for some general trivia questions. These kind of games I think really lend itself to have some, if I'm doing content, I'm going to be doing, let's say it's to look back on we're reading To Kill a Mockingbird or something like that. I may want to throw some fun questions in there to be able to add to it. And then the other thing to be aware of too is that I have linked these to actual questions that are within the slide deck, so that you can see the word and the image that goes with that. That's only if you want to be able to do that. You're more than welcome to just read the questions by themselves. You could just have yourself a good old-fashioned index card, and you could be able to say, oh, okay, everybody, who was the first president of the United States? And you read it out loud directly to them. So don't feel like you need to put together a lot of questions if that's too much work, because you could just read them, kind of a thing. and such. All right, so you're gonna. I say you need to have 35 questions. You don't necessarily need to be able to have that many. And let me show you what that looks like. Here's my. I'm jumping forward to the slide here where all of the questions is, and what this allows as the teams pick. Let's say I want question number 3. This will hyperlink you to question number 3, and it will take you to the question. Then there will be an answer, and then you can go back to the board in which that you play. If you don't want to be able to do all 35 questions, you could just simply go like this. I'm going to highlight 29 through 35, delete those, so you can take away the options of those. Let's say if I only got 20 questions. Let's say if I only got 20 questions, I could just put up however many that I want. I'm going to undo that so I can show you what that ultimately looks like here. So those are the questions, and the questions work in which that you click on one of them, and it's going to take you to the question slide, and they're all hyperlinked. So this is the game example that I have here is called Name That Pixar Character. So these are all characters from Pixar films. I'm going to have a picture. I'm going to have the word to go with it. And then the bottom, you can see the answer crush. Now, this is all animated in which that it doesn't come up. So if I put this into the slideshow mode, you're going to see a sound effect come up. The answer doesn't come up. And wherever you click has been disabled. The only thing that will allow you to do is you can, in the bottom right-hand corner, click on answer, and that will bring up the answer. And if I want to go back to the game board, I click on the game board in the upper right-hand corner, and that will take me back to there. Then you'll realize is when I'm out of the slideshow, but then that question will then be removed. I'll show you how this all works in a second. And everything has been put together for you, so you don't need to touch with anything. All right, you ready to see the board? I've been waiting to show this to you because it's a little bit just don't let it intimidate you is what I'm trying to be able to say here, because it looks a bit busy. Okay, ready, set. There it is. It's a bit busy. It's my version of the board. I think in the game it's 100 spaces. I have 80 on here. I try to be able to do a little bit less for the sake of how much you can do in a normal kind of a classroom game. I'm hoping this will run about 30 minutes or so, 30, 40 minutes based on how fast the kids can answer, or how successful they are answering the questions, kind of a thing. And I try to recreate the game as much as I can here. The things that make it the most busy is you can see on every single square there are the 3 colored pawns: the yellow, the pink, and the green, and those are all potential places that they can be. It gets much better when we put this into the slide deck, and I'll show you that for a second. We have, I think I have 6 ladders and 6 different slides that can move the teams up or down. Here, this pink button over here will jump you to that question page, and from there you can be able to access the jumping off point to which question you want to be able to have. And then lastly, in the upper left-hand corner is the spinner. I'll show you how that works. Now, the spinner is just a fun way to be able to spin and make them go 1 through 6. I actually would recommend this. I would say get rid of it and not have it at all. My particular favorite is less digital that you can when you play my games, the better. And so get yourself a big die, a medium die, a little tiny die, something like that. Have some fun with it. Do you have a spinner? I have tons of these particular toys that I just forgot to pull out for the video, and I've used them in others, so check them out. But that's a lot of fun. Get a big foam dice, blow up dice, or a spinner wheel kind of a thing. And if not, you can go here too, and this is relatively fine. All right, so let me show you what ultimately the game looks like. Let's put it in the slide deck, and dun dun dun. Less busy now. And let me show you how all these things work. So first off, the spinner. The spinner works is they're only going to go 1 through 6. So that's why a die would work relatively well. It's the same thing. You can get a 6-sided die. And none of this, wherever you click is not going to, you can't move forward and get out of this. So you're stuck on this page, but there's some interactive components that you need to know. First off, the spinner. How do I get the spinner to work? Only one thing works, and that is the white big arrow. So the arrow on the spinner, when I click on it, will begin spinning it, and the sound effect will kind of go along with it. And you can do it one of 2 ways. You can give the kids your mouse and have them click on it, or they can yell the word stop, and you can stop there. Anyway, one way or another, to be able to give them the opportunity to be able to stop that. So that's kind of how the spinner works. Now, in order for you to be able to move forward, unlike the normal game where everybody gets to play each turn, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, ours is going to be determined based on questions. So here's the question button. I click on that, takes me to what I mentioned before. So if I click on number 1, now it jumps to this particular thing, and now the kids can answer their questions. I play this is that this is not a speed game. It's not like a Jeopardy, the fastest to chime in. It's just the whiteboards. Everybody's going to have a board. It's not a speed game, so take your time, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Are you all ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. I want you to show me your boards. They all turn their boards over, and then whoever has the correct answer, you discuss it. We click with the correct answer. There's Crush, and then you say, hey, you all got it right. So pink, yellow, and green, you guys all get it right. So that means you guys have an opportunity to play. Now, the link in the upper right-hand corner is now going to tell me, when I click on that, brings me back over here, and we get a spin. So let's say I'm going to go yellow team first. They're going to spin, and they get a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, here's kind of what these little circles and those pawns mean. The board here is actually going to be a place and keep track of where we're going, so we don't have to actually deal with a physical board in front of us. We all can see it in the big screen in front of the room. And in order basically to move my yellow pawn to that spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have these little discs. If I click on any of the discs, that will now enable and put the pawn on that spot. So they're basically on-off buttons for the pawns. If I want that pawn, the next time that yellow plays, let's say he goes and he spins and does a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, he needs to move to spot number 8. Then I click on the yellow here, he'll disappear, go to the number 8, turn it on. What if I left it over there? You can do too. It doesn't matter. They're just on-off buttons. So maybe I would leave him on and say, okay, so hey, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn this one on, then go back and turn that one off. Okay, then you would do the other color. Let's say they spin and they get a 3. All right, so this is pink. 1, 2, 3. Now 3 doesn't have one. There's no spots because it's a ladder. And I think everybody gets the basic gist of this preschool game, which is now here you're going to move up. So that's why I don't have any tokens, any of the on-off buttons, is because every time you land on spot number 3, you're going to move up. So that means pink is going to go to there. Nice job. And now we'll spin for green. And he also gets a 3. Perfect. I didn't plan on this, but this is what I wanted to do. So now if I wanted to go 1, 2, 3, he needs to share the same spot. This is why I have the 3 on-off buttons sort of next to each other. That way I could be able to have them when you have 2 different teams sharing a spot. And so this is ultimately what it looks like. And so from here, you're simply just going to continue this same process. Ask questions. Let's go here. You can see question number 1 has disappeared. The neat part about this is that it's completely, not random, completely choice driven. So whatever one they ultimately want to do, they just say the number. Hey, I want number 12. So you click on 12. Jump you to number 12 here. They just both happen to be from Finding Nemo. They're not all. They're from all the Pixar movies. And then you click on the answer. All right, there's Dory, and it takes you back. If I go to the questions again, you can see 1 is gone, and now 12 is gone. Let's see if we can get a non-Finding Nemo. I'm going to guess number 10. Let's see what that is. There we go. So this is from Bug's Life kind of a thing. Anyway, and that, in essence, is the game. You keep playing, and you go ups and you go downs, and remind the kids once they get all the way to the right, number 10, then they go up to 11, and then to the left, and then to the right, and then up and down. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's Chutes and Ladders. I was working with a teacher and trying to develop this, and they say, "Can you move the ladders and the slides?" And kind of. Right now, you can't access them because they are hidden behind, and so only for the really advanced folks you could get into. If I go to the view slide master, and I can get to the background of this. This is the background of this particular slide. And now these things, I could be able to move them around or not. These are all the things that have been disabled because I don't want normal gameplay to affect these things, the ladders and all that sort of stuff. If you do feel like you want to move them and you're like, oh, I wanted to make this thing go from here to here and make it longer or something like that, just be aware then you got to move those little tokens and the pawns and all that kind of stuff. So in the end, I would just stick with what this is and play along with it that way. So that, in essence, is the game. I don't know how long the game's going to take. Like I said, it's a normal Chutes and Ladder kind of a thing. You go from the beginning to the end, and then do you want to play? Do you just reward the winners? Do you want to continue to play and see who comes in second place? Not a bad idea if the game runs relatively short and if you have enough prizes. What to do for prizes? Check out my YouTube channel. I got things that you can give for prizes. It could be candy and extra credit and a bunch of different ideas. Be creative and be also transparent with the class too about knowing what they're going to be playing for when they do this. And like I mentioned before, like here is in my slide shorter view, these are my questions. And it does take a little while for you to compile and put all these questions together. This one I just simply did of Pixar characters. And this was a little, I wanted to be able to get a nice image to go with it and have the text to go with it, kind of a thing. And this is a place where you can bring in your study guides and bring in the content that you need there. But again, if this is too hard to be able to do it, you probably got all the questions anyway, and you can just bring them out and just read them if you don't want to necessarily do that. And you can just scrap the questions, the visual ones. But it's really me personally, I like having the visual up there no matter the content, what I'm doing, just so they can be able to see the words. Kind of why I think Jeopardy is kind of neat is that we're able to read the words as the host is going over them as well too. The two different ways to be able to get input and prompts into our students. Folks, that's Chutes and Ladders. I hope you give it a chance and give it a download. And as always, I would love to be able to hear some feedback. What worked, what didn't, and any ideas that you have for the future. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to, like I said, give me some feedback, and I hope you enjoy. Folks, I forgot even how to end these videos. That's right. I'm Ryan, the Game Show Guy. Hope you enjoy the game.